Sadhana Panchakam, verse 4. There are totally 40 steps of spiritual life which Shankaracharya tells in this particular work of 5 stanzas. And today we will see the 4th and the 5th verse and 25th step. He says, क्षुद व्याधिश्च चिकित्स्यतां प्रतिदिनं भिक्षौषधं भुज्यतां स्वादु अन्नं न तु याच्यतां विधिवशात् प्राप्तेन सन्तुष्यतां शीतोष्णादि विषह्यतां न तु वृथा वाक्यं समुच्चार्यताम् औदासीन्यम् अभीप्स्यतां जनकृपा नैष्ठुर्यम् उत्सृज्यताम्. So here Shankaracharya says that you have to cure your disease of what? Hunger. Kshud vyadhi. Kshudha. Kshudha is hunger. So vyadhi means disease. So kshud vyadhi, the disease of hunger. That's our problem. We feel hungry every day, so many times in a day. So that chikitsyata, cure, treat this vyadhi, this disease, pratidinam, every day by bhiksha aushadam bhujyatam, by taking the medicine of food which is obtained as bhiksha. So there are 2 steps. One is you treat the disease of hunger. So first of all, you have to understand that hunger is a disease. And then you have to think of treating it. But we don't consider hunger as disease. We consider it as an opportunity to enjoy food. So only people who do not have money to get food, they consider hunger as, they also don't consider it as disease, they consider it as some compulsion or something. They don't consider it as a disease. So nobody considers hunger as a disease. In some Ayurvedic texts you find that this body is a disease. Okay. And food is the poison which you have to take to maintain this disease of body. That is also one kind of thought. So Shuddh Vyadhi, you have to treat the disease of hunger. In Bhaja Govindam, Shankaracharya says, Udara Nimittam Bahukrita Vesham. A person puts on different kinds of Vesha, different kinds of guises, different kinds of forms and appearances for the sake of one's stomach. Udara means stomach. Even beggars, they have this famous thing, पेट के वास्ते. So Allah के नाम पे, भगवान के नाम पे, पेट के वास्ते. So for the sake of stomach. So whatever a person does, mostly generally is done for the sake of stomach. And so most of our wrong deeds or wrong understandings of life are all based because of our need for food. So that is why Shankaracharya says, you treat this as a disease and take the medicine of bhiksha. That means whatever will come in your plate, take it. So do not swadu annam natu yachyatam. So don't ask for tasty food. Whatever food you get, you eat that and be very happy. I think people who cook, they will be very happy with this statement of Shankaracharya. So nobody would say, if somebody follows this, then they will not insist on tasty food, so you can cook. But you should cook in such a way that you can also eat that. But anyway, here the idea is, Why you should not crave for tasty food? Because the sense of taste is a very strong sense. So, in our body, we have five senses: hearing, smell, touch, taste, and sight. So, the subtlest of all senses is, which is the most subtle? Subtle. Hearing. Hearing is the subtlest of all the senses. And the grossest of all senses is touch. So that like that, touch. So then you have taste. After touch, it is taste. And then you have sight. And then it is smell. And then the subtlest is hearing, sound. So that is why just sound does not influence you so much. Some sound you can hear, but unless your mind is there, unless you are seeing the person, visual medium will have more effect on you. So this is the thing. And somebody touches you, even if you are asleep, that person can touch and wake you up. So touch is also there. So why we should not go for tasty food? Because tasty food, it stimulates our sense organ of taste, and that is directly linked with our idea of body, and it is also directly linked with the this thing of lust, feeling of lust. So taste is directly linked with the feeling of lust. So if you want to control your senses, control your mind, you have to practice control of food taste, and that is a thing which one person has to do. And you see, taste is also, food is such a thing, it involves all other senses also. The sense of smell, the sense of sight, and the sense of touch also. You touch a food, and if it is soggy, or if it is not, if you don't see the food to be properly presented, etc., then you would not eat it properly and you would not be able to digest, because our all digestive juices, they secrete properly if it is served properly. So some people may say, anyway when it going inside, it is all going in one like one khichdi, so let us serve, why do you care about serving it like that? It is done because so that you, when you see the food, your digestive enzymes or digestive juices in your stomach, they secrete. So this is what Shankaracharya says, that you should not swadu annam natu yachyata. Do not ask. Yachana means to ask or crave for tasty food. Do not vidhi vashat praptena santushyata. Whatever you get because of your vidhi, that means your fruits of action, what you have done in the past, prarabdha karma. So whatever you get, you be happy with that. Sitoshnadi vishahyatam natu vritha vakyam samucharyatam. So heat and cold, heat and cold, pain and pleasure, and praise and insult, all these opposites, that you sahyatam, you forbear that, endure that. This is the 29th step. Endure these opposites of heat, cold, pleasure, pain, and etc. Vritha vakyam na samucharyatam. Do not talk unnecessarily. So this is something which is very much necessary in India. Because in India we have unlimited talk time. And if a person talks more, either that person has to be a genius or a fool to keep talking truth. So if a person talks more, unless that person is a truthful person, unless that person is a genius or a person is a foolish, that person cannot talk truth all the time. If you are given to the habit of talking more, either you have to be a genius or a foolish person to talk the truth all the time. Otherwise, you will start talking lies because you don't have anything. Say somebody you meet and that person says that I can sing. Now what will you say? And you have to talk. So you will say, I also know how to sing, which is a lie. To show that you also know, because you also have to talk. So one big disadvantage of talking is that we talk things which are not true. We talk untrue things. We talk lies. And also another disadvantage of talking is you will end up quarreling all the time. If you talk more, you will be quarreling. So this is another disadvantage. And third disadvantage of talking is that you will not be able to think deeply. Anybody who talks too much, unless that person is childlike, if any person talks too much, then that person will be unable to think deeply. Now, because I have said unless that person is childlike, all of us will think, oh, we are all childlike, we are all so simple. But that is not true most of the times. Anyway, so then you also will not be able to make any impact on the person with whom you are talking. If you keep on talking regularly, unnecessarily, then you will lose credibility. There will be no power in your word. Why? Because that's what, as I said, either you should be a genius, that whatever you are speaking is all not unnecessary, it is all things of substance that you are speaking. But if that is not there, you will lose your credibility. Then people will think, oh, this fellow talks just like that. There is no meaning in this person's talk. And the biggest reason why we should keep quiet is so that other people don't know about our ignorance. It is good to keep quiet. There is I forget the exact wordings. It is good to keep quiet and let people assume your intelligence, assume your ignorance, than to open your mouth and remove all doubts. Something like that. There is a quotation like that. So if you open your mouth, then everybody knows that you are a foolish person. Otherwise, there is a benefit of doubt. You may be foolish, you may be intelligent. So mainly for that, you should keep quiet. Anyway, in spiritual life, it is very important that you don't talk unnecessarily. Audasinyam abhipsyatam. And also if you talk unnecessarily, the same thing. Most people I see, they talk same thing over and again. Same thing they keep on telling over and again. They keep on repeating. So if you have, say, problem in your house or in the place where you work, you will be repeating the same thing. And then that problem may not be so big, but by thinking about it over and again, you are making it bigger and bigger. Audasinyam abhipsyatam. And also, Audasinyam abhipsyatam. Be indifferent. This is the 31st step. Maintain an attitude of indifference. That means be cheerful, believe in God, and be indifferent to all these problems. Now, since day before yesterday, people are talking only one topic. It is there. There's only one topic is going on. The body will die. You're talking about some currency notes. What is that? Okay, that is whatever has happened. Now you take the next step and go ahead. But constantly talking about this, it's such a waste of time. And this shows that we take so seriously even small problems in our life. If somebody has to have a boil, foda, that's all. Then that person will, oh, what cream should I apply? What will do? Now it is paining. Now you give some fomentation, that, this, etc. What is there? Just be indifferent to your body, your mind. Oh, that person told me like that. How can that person say that to me? How can this person say this to me? So, practice an attitude of indifference. Practice an attitude of indifference to everything. Small things which happen in your life, be indifferent to that. We don't need to bother. Why we should be indifferent? Because things are not permanent in life. So be indifferent. We should know that things are not permanent in life. Everything is impermanent. And then Shankaracharya says, Jana Kripa Naishturyam, you have to Utsrujyata. So, people, they may praise you, kripa, they may show sympathy, or they may be nishthura. Naishthurya means they may be cruel, or they may be very harsh to you. Nishthura, they may be harsh. So, you just give it up. Now, most people, I think even in this room, most people, they'll do their actions because what will others say? So somebody was telling me recently that Maharaj, you should do like this, like this. Why? Because people will. Then I listened to some extent. Then I said, I don't care what people will say. What will people say? I don't care. What people say means what? Because most of the things what I study or I practice or what I tell is against what people think. People think this world is permanent. People may not say it openly. They may say that world is impermanent, etc. They may write songs on that also. But their actions and their beliefs show that they think that the world is permanent. Then they think that, death is something bad, etc. I don't believe in such things. Why should I follow what people think? That's a stupid thing to do. No great person has become great because that person followed what people think. Not even Steve Jobs, who was not he was not a spiritual personage. He was in the field of business. But even he did not practice what people thought. Because if you do what people think, you will be one of the people. And Sri Ramakrishna says, Lokna Pok. People are worms. So what people, every time what will they say? You should wear like this dress. Otherwise, what people will think? So you spend on dress to show people. You spend on your house to show people. You spend on everything to show people. And finally, what happens when something wrong goes in your family, when you are in suffering, when you are in pain? Do people come to see you? No. They will say, ভালো হয়েছে, খুব লাফাচ্ছিল। No, they will say, it is good, বেশ হয়েছে। Do you understand Bengali? Oh, so বেশ ভালো হয়েছে, খুব লাফাচ্ছিল, অনেক টাকা দেখাচ্ছিল, খুব পয়সা দেখাচ্ছিল। So you are showing the power of money. Now it is good. Like this, it should happen. That is what people will say. So all these ideas, people, of course, some people will say that you are a monk and you don't need to follow what people say, but we are householders, so we have to care about people's opinion, etc. But even that doesn't work. You see, you ask any psychiatrist or any clinical psychologist, most or almost all of the people who go to them with problems of anxiety, with problems of any kind of serious psychological complication, all come from one point: comparison. And there can be serious problems because of that. Serious means really serious, where a person's whole life is shattered. Why does that happen? Because of comparing. You compare with other people. My husband is getting this much salary and her husband is getting this much salary. Or my wife is like this and his wife is like this. Let's compare. My children are like that, and oh, you do you know? Oh, that fellow's child is going into IIT. What is our child doing? He is not going into IIT. So put everybody in IIT. In India, Swamiji, when he was going out to the West from Japan, he wrote a very famous letter, July 20th, 1892. The letter was written. So it's a very famous letter, 1893, where it's letter written to his Madras disciples, where he says that you are all, is there not water enough in the ocean to drown you, gowns, diplomas and all? Then he says, what he talks about the Japanese, how they work so much. Then he says, what are you? A race of dotards, promenading the seashores, trying to memorize stray bits of European brain work, with children cackling at your feet. So those days, people used to be married off much earlier, and they used to study for law, etc., and they used to have children. So children will be there and they will study for law. And what is the height of young India's ambition? A 30 rupee clerkship. That is what he said those days. Now what is the height of young India's ambition? It is a 30,000 rupees software engineership. It has not changed much. Only 3 zeros added because of inflation. And software engineership. They are also clerks. They do the same mechanical work and the same thing they do over and again. So the idea is that why does this happen? Because you want to toe the line of the public. You want to follow what public want you to do. So in Bengali there is a usage, public khabe. Khub khabe. So whatever the public will like, so that you want to do, not what you need. So that's pathetic actually. That's really pathetic. And that is what Shankaracharya is trying to tell us, that we have to avoid this. In the 5th verse, Ekante sukham asyatam paratare chetah samadhiyatam purnatma susamikshyatam jagadidam tad badhitam drishyatam prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalat na api uttaraihi slishyatam prarabdam tu iha bhujyatam atha parabrahmatmana sthiyatam iti paramamsa parivrajaka acharya Srimad Shankaracharya virachita sadhana panchakam sampurnam. So this, what is this? Ekante sukham asyatam. So in solitude, you sukham asyatam, you be in your own bliss. In solitude. Your own bliss means the bliss of Atman, your true reality. You be in that bliss. And paratare chetah samadhiyatam. So, ekante sukham asyatam. You be in your bliss, but how will you be in your bliss? Sukham asyatam means you sit in a comfortable posture. In Patanjali, about asana it is told, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Stiram Sukham Asanam. So that which is steady and Sukham, comfortable, is the asana, seat for meditating. So you sit like that. It is the 33rd step. So you are nearing now knowledge of Brahman. So paratare chetah samadhiyatam. Chetah means mind. Samadhiyatam, let it get merged in Brahma. Paratare, Brahman. Cheta, mind, let mind get merged in Brahman. Then Purnatma Su Samikshyata. So you very clearly see the self in complete fullness. Means see the self nicely. Atman, see the Atman nicely. So Swamiji wanted all of us to be rishis. Rishis means seers of truth, he said. So we should all become rishis. So that. And then Jagad idam tadvat hitam drishyata. And also see this world as unreal. You see your true nature or Atman or Brahman as full, clearly. And similarly, you see this world as unreal, without any reality. Then prak karma pravilapyatam, and also prak karma, whatever effects of actions you have done in the past, it is all stored, so that you destroyed that by knowledge. By this knowledge, automatically all the stored actions, effects of actions will all go away. Chiti balat na apyuttaraihi slishyatam. And uttaraihi means any future karma. Chiti balat, by a proper attitude, don't get attached to new karma. That means when you do any action from now on, now that you all become knowers of Brahman, next time when you do any action or think anything, don't think I am the doer, I am the experiencer. Kartritva, bhoktritva, don't bring this. Doerness and experienceness. So automatically you will, that is the proper attitude. Then you will not be attached to new karma, so there will be no new karma phala. Prarabdham tu iha bhujyatam. But whatever effects of actions have already started giving results in this life, that you have to experience. Bhujyatam, you have to experience. That you have to here you have to experience. Atha parabrahma atmana stiyatam. And also, so this is the 39th step that you have to experience. And atha, after experiencing all this, after all the karmas are experienced, then what will happen? Body will fall. Means body will go away. Then you stiyatam, parabrahmat. Means you just establish yourself, or you become one with Parabrahman. That's all. So 40 steps by which you attain knowledge of Brahman, and you also given up your body and all attachment to body, etc. Finish.
Now we are on
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat